Today, we're going to talk about how everyone in the coaching space is lying to you. In fact, there's four lies in particular that if you believe them, it's game over for your business. And I'm going to bust these myths today. And I'm going to tell you the truth about how to actually scale. I'm Russ Ruffino. This channel is about how I built an AI powered $100 million coaching company that fits in a backpack and what I learned scaling our business past $1 million a month. I love my wife. I love my life. Hopefully, you can learn something from all this, but your results depend totally on you. Let's dive in. All right, the first lie is that you need to build a huge audience first. So every day I talk to people with 1 million followers on Instagram who are dead broke. I mean, let that sink in. They've done the work, they've posted video after video, they've gotten millions of views, but nobody is buying anything. And meanwhile, I also know guys that are doing over $1 million a month from YouTube, but their average video gets about 5,000 views. Think about that. So if you go out there and you copy the people with massive view counts and you like chase that virality, you're going to be just as broke as they are. So what you need to do instead is you need to analyze the people with small follower counts, but whose followers actually buy stuff. Those are the winners that you need to model. And the secret that they're using is they're using hyper niche content. In other words, content so specific that only your exact ideal client would ever click on it, right? So normal person sees it, they scroll right by. Your perfect client sees it and they stop because it feels like you're speaking exactly to them. And that's great news if you're just getting started because it means that you don't need to go viral. You don't need like 1 million followers before you can get going. You don't need to grind out content for years before you can start earning a dime. You just need a small number of exactly the right people. So take a second. Think about your exact client avatar, right? I mean, the kind of person that you most want to work with. And then make 3 lists: the problems they're dealing with, the myths they believe, what you stand for, your solutions, your values, the truth. And then use those 3 lists as the basis for all of your content. And by the way, don't even think about creating a bunch of content at all until you have a high ticket offer to sell to your viewers, right? So every coach, every expert should have a transformational program for sale for a $5,000 to $15,000 price point or more. If you don't have that, there's a link in the description of the video that can help you out. Now, once you are enrolling people consistently, right? Once you're doing 50K, 100K a month or more, or whatever, then you can think about becoming famous if you even want to, right? Because then you're going to have the cash flow to make that a lot easier. So here's kind of a secret of the industry that most people don't know. Most things are pay for play. I know guys that can get you a TED talk for like 50 grand or a New York Times bestseller or a hit podcast or whatever it is. Getting famous is way easier if you get rich first. But then, if you get rich, you might not care about being famous, right? I don't. It doesn't support my goals. So here's your tactical takeaway, right? Forget about the follower count or the view count. Just make those 3 lists and make content that only your ideal client would care about. Niche it down until it feels like almost too specific. Then create the content and send them from the content to your high ticket offer. And if you don't have a high ticket offer, again, reach out. We'll help you build one. No big deal. All right. Now, a lot of people also think that if you're going to sell something for $5,000 or $15,000 or more, that it has to be about money. And that brings me to the second myth, which is that business coaching is bullshit. Okay, now don't get me wrong. If you're a business coach, you can crush it. We work with a lot of business coaches. But what's bullshit is this idea that if you're going to charge a high price, then you have to be making those people a direct financial return. That's nonsense because the most valuable offers have nothing to do with money. I'll give you an idea. My client Meg, she saves marriages. My client Becky, she helps dyslexic kids go from reading in the bottom 10% of their class to the top 10% of their class in about 12 weeks. My client Jamie works with teenage girls struggling with anxiety and depression. My client Ezra helps business owners overcome ADHD. My client Adit helps couples recover from infidelity and put the pieces back together in their marriage. Now, what do those have in common? They're all priceless. I mean, if you make my business an extra 10 grand a month, that's great. But if you save my marriage, that's priceless, right? If you get my kid who's struggling to read and you get him reading, how am I not going to spend whatever it takes to make that happen? Does that make sense? So all those clients I just mentioned, they're all selling programs between $5,000 and $15,000, and their clients are thanking them for it because the transformation is worth so much more. right? A parent who's terrified that their kid is falling behind at school, or a person whose marriage is hanging by a thread, or a couple deciding whether they want to stay together. Those people are not like sitting there doing the math on the return on their investment with you, because that transformation is priceless to them. And when the transformation is priceless, then the price is just whatever it needs to be. So stop believing that your niche is too soft or not financial enough to be a premium niche, right? If you change someone's life in a way that they really need it to be changed, then you can charge a premium price. I swear you can. We've helped 6,000 coaches and experts charge what they're worth. You just have to believe it. And if you're honestly not sure what your transformational outcome even is, I got you covered. We built an AI that will coach you through the process of crafting your high ticket offer, right? So, figuring things out like, what is that outcome? What is your target audience? Is it sharp enough? Is it clear enough? This AI is going to walk you through all of this. It's going to help you get crystal clear on all that stuff. And it's totally free. The link is in the description. Just grab it. It's life changing. All right. The third myth, and this is one I hate, is that there's something noble about playing small. And this one sucks because it comes cloaked in false virtue. So I hear this all the time from life coaches, therapists, spirituality coaches. Well, I didn't become a therapist to get rich. I became a therapist to help people. I coach people on their spiritual wellness. It's not about the money. Pardon my French, but bullshit. Let's look at how this belief shows up and how it keeps you small, and then we'll take a look at the truth. So, one thing I see all the time is people do one on one coaching instead of group coaching. And they do this because they're convinced that one on one is the only way to really get good results. And it feels like the dedicated choice, it feels like the high integrity choice. I understand I could be making more money, but this is deep work we do with people, and it has to be one on one. No, it does not. And how do I know this? Because again, over the years, we have helped thousands of coaches, experts, and therapists transition from a one on one model to a group model. And you know how many of them ever transitioned back? Zero, not one. And it's not because they're greedy, right? These are high integrity people that we work with. It's because as soon as they switch to a group model, they realize that the group model actually gets better results for their clients than one on one. Now, you might wonder, how is that possible? Well, it's possible because if you are working with someone one on one, then you are their only source of certainty. I mean, think about it, right? I find you on Yelp, or I find you through a referral, and I sit down from you, across from you in your office or on Zoom, and I pay you some money, and I'm hoping to God that I made the right decision. And the only evidence I have that I made the right decision has to come from you. You're all I've got, right? Now, contrast that with somebody who has an online group program. So now I join your group program. I show up for that first Q&A call, and right there, I'm on a Zoom call with 20 or 30 other people who are further along in their journey than I am. And I'm hearing them celebrate their wins. They're celebrating their successes. They're talking about all the progress they've made, all the breakthroughs they've made. And they're saying it's all because they joined your program and because of the work that you did with them. Now, right there, if I'm the customer, two really cool things happen. First of all, I don't feel so alone, right? All of a sudden, I'm surrounded by all these other people whose marriage is just as screwed up as mine, or who are just as out of shape as I am, or have the same business problems I have. And guess what? They're all normal people. They're good people. And I think to myself, you know what? Maybe there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe I really can fix this. I'm seeing the results they're getting. I'm starting to have some hope. I'm starting to have some faith. Maybe I could get some results too. And that creates a group dynamic. That's incredibly powerful. It gets better and faster results than working with people one on one. Now, again, you might not believe that if you're just deep in the one on one thing, but I swear to God, it's true. And here's the second way it shows up: you don't advertise, right? All your business comes through referral, and you're a little too proud of that. You say, well, I've never needed to advertise. All my clients come through referral. I built my whole business on word of mouth. And look, referrals are great. They mean you're doing good work. They mean people trust you. It means that they're sending their friends. That part's real. You should be proud of that. But when you say all my business comes from word of mouth, what I hear is you have unpredictable cash flow and you can't scale, period, because you can only get so many referrals. And if you have a month where, God forbid, those referrals don't happen, now you're struggling and you have no idea where your next client is coming from, because you can't turn up the dial when you need more. You're kind of at the mercy of other people's goodwill and other people's timing. And that means that you don't really have a business that you can control. You have a business that's kind of just like happening to you on its timing, not on yours. So there is nothing noble about a business that you can't scale. There's nothing noble about helping fewer people because you are trapped doing one on one. And if you look under the hood, you know this. You're just scared. And like I said, you're cloaking it in false virtue. So the move is easy to say, but it's scary to do. You switch from one on one to group so your best work reaches more people and gets better results. And you stop depending on word of mouth. Referrals are great. Be grateful when you get them, be proud when you get them, but never, ever depend on them. And so that means you have to learn how to turn clicks into clients on purpose through advertising, right? Through a medium that you control. So now you know where your next client is coming from because until you can do that, you don't have a business. You have a practice that depends totally on luck and totally on word of mouth. So let's say you do this. You switch to a group model and you decide to finally market your business on purpose. Now, whether any of that works comes down to one piece almost nobody has. And without it, everything I told you today is useless. So let me show you the one problem that you actually have to solve. And that brings me to the fourth and final myth. And it's the one underneath all the others. And that myth is that you have 100 problems in your business, right? You have to figure out YouTube. You have to figure out Instagram. You have to learn how to do challenge funnels and webinars. You have to build a self-liquidating funnel, whatever the hell that is. You got to do ad campaigns. You got to do launches. You need new branding. You need better photos. And then that means, well, now you need a more professional wardrobe, right? You don't need any of that shit. They're telling you this because they want to keep you hungry for information. So you have to go to them to buy it. Don't do that. You don't have 100 problems. You have one problem and one problem only. And it's this: you can't turn clicks into clients at the scale that you want. That's it. Let me say it again. You can't turn clicks into clients at the scale you want. That's it. I mean, think about it. If you could spend $1 on Facebook and make $10 back, would you really have any problems? Right? I mean, any problems that money couldn't solve? Yeah, maybe you need to hire more people. Great. Now you have the cash flow to do it. Maybe you need a new website. Okay, cool. You can waste your money on that because now you have money to burn. So all those problems that you think you have would basically just like evaporate, wouldn't they? So you must learn to turn clicks into clients at scale. Nothing else matters. The website you have doesn't matter. The branding you have doesn't matter. Your logo, your certification, all that stuff doesn't matter. You need to have the one thing that runs a business, and that's a reliable way to put $1 in and get more than $1 out predictably. That right there, that's the whole game. A machine where you understand your numbers well enough to know that the money that you're putting in is producing even more money out predictably. And the only reason that I was ever able to scale was that I could spend like $200,000, $300,000 a month. And I know that sounds like a crazy number, but I could spend that much money on ads, but then I could bring back a million and a half. There's nothing magic about it, right? We just built a machine that turns clicks into clients. And once you have that, you can grow, pretty much as big as you want. Now, yeah, you might hit a cap on how much you could spend on ads every day and still get good traffic. But believe me, by the time that happens, you will be so successful, you won't even care. So until you have that, you are running on fumes, whether you realize it or not. And look, most six-figure coaches and even some seven-figure coaches are like one bad month away from panic for exactly this reason. They never built the machine. So your takeaway is the most important one in this whole video. Stop fixing 100 things. Just focus on one thing: a predictable system that turns clicks into clients. Everything else is noise until you have that. And if you want me to help you with that, the link to book a call is in the description of the video. Now, look, knowing that you need a system like that and actually having a system like that are two totally different things, because a system that turns clicks into clients has got to be built right. You need the right offer, the right positioning, the right messaging, the right presentation. All those pieces have to be dialed in. That is the gap between understanding what I'm saying here and actually living it. All right, look, so we talked about the 4 myths that kill businesses. Let's just do a quick review of what's actually true. Number 1, you don't need a big audience. You create a high ticket offer that's transformational. You figure out your target audience. You make 3 lists: their problems, the myths they believe, and what you stand for. You build all your content around that. You focus on getting cash first. Then you get famous later or go viral later or whatever it is, if you even want to. Two, you don't need to be teaching people how to make money to charge a high ticket price. Real world personal transformation is way more valuable. And honestly, it's way easier to sell. So I want to talk to you, parenting coaches, dating coaches, marriage coaches, life coaches, spirituality coaches, wellness coaches. They are sitting out there waiting to give you their money because the transformation you provide is priceless. And three, there's nothing noble about playing small. Stop hiding in one on one because you think group coaching doesn't get results. It's been proven thousands of times that it does. So now there's no excuse. And stop being proud of your referrals, right? Depending on them means that you have an inconsistent business that you can't scale. And it means you're not making the impact you could be making. And honestly, that is not something to be proud of. That's not noble. So get off your high horse, stop lying to yourself, create a group program, and make the impact you were born to make. And then four, stop believing you have 100 problems because you don't. You only have one. You can't turn clicks into clients at the scale you want. If you just fix that, all these other problems evaporate. And again, if you're not sure what your high ticket offer is, or even whether it's like strong enough, the link to the AI is in the description. Grab it, use it, it works. All right. Now we come to the most important part of this whole video. This is the spiritual upgrade that makes everything else work. So here is your spiritual North Star as you stop playing small. What every single one of these four myths really comes down to underneath all the tactics is just the same thing. It's just playing small. And playing small, when you trace that all the way down to the bottom, always comes down to worthiness. So you could tell yourself all day long, well, I didn't become a coach to get rich. I didn't become a therapist to get rich. And I just want to like lovingly call bullshit on that because let me run something by you. If I sat across from you right now and said, look, man, I'm going to write you a check for $50 million dollars and I'm going to fill your business with clients and every single one of them is going to get a life-changing result. Are you going to tell me that you would say no to that? Of course you wouldn't. Nobody on the planet would say no to that. So it was never that you didn't want to be rich and successful. It just comes down to like a couple beliefs. Either somewhere inside you believe that you can't make great money and change lives at the same time, which I hope now you realize that's not true. Or deeper than that, you believe that even if you could do that, you don't deserve it. So here's the reframe that's going to set you free. Money is just a way of keeping score of the value you create in the world. If a coach builds a business that pays them $1 million a year, it's because they created way more than $1 million of value in other people's lives. So you don't have to choose between making the income you want and making the impact you want because making the money is actually a byproduct of making the impact. In other words, the bigger the impact you make, the bigger the income that comes back. Those things go up together. And in my book, that means that you've earned every last freaking penny. So give no thought whatsoever to whether or not you deserve it. Just focus on creating real transformation at scale and then let the money take care of itself. So the next time you have that little voice in your head and it's telling you that it's virtuous for you to stay small, to keep doing one-on-one, to not charge what you're worth, to avoid marketing because it feels uncomfortable, stop and ask yourself one honest question. If I truly believed that I deserved it, if I knew I was worthy of a business that changes thousands of lives and pays me what that's worth, what would I build? And then go build that. But remember what it takes to get anywhere near that. You need two systems, a system for bringing clients in the door and a system for changing their lives. And until you have both of those, you don't have a business. So go build the system, give yourself permission to be worthy of everything that system creates for you and for your clients. That's the inner work you need to do. Now, look, if any of this resonated with you and you're wondering how I can help you succeed, there's basically two things I can do for you. Number one, we can take your expertise, we can turn it into a $5,000 to $15,000 coaching program that you can run from anywhere in the world. Number two, once you have that kind of coaching program, we can install our $100 million AI-powered client attraction system right into your business to bring you the clients that you want. If you want to know more about what that looks like, there's another link in the description of the video. Click that. It'll take you to a page where I will walk you through the whole thing. You can book a call with our team. We can talk about it. All right, last thing, I put out videos like this once or twice a week. So tell me in the comments, which of those four myths have derailed you the most? Is it believing you need a big audience? Is it believing you got to be creating a financial result for people? Is it that you've been telling yourself that playing small is a good thing, or that you have 100 problems and you don't know where to start? And if there's something specific that you're stuck on, let me know. And if I can make a video about it, I will. All right, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.